Being a school principal requires some imagination and sometimes a little luck. Starting out, you have to fake it till you make it. Other times, you just pull a solution out of your armpit and hope you get lucky. You can't make this stuff up. I am sitting at my desk near the end of a day, and I receive one of my least favorite types of calls. Mrs. Smith needed my help recovering a stolen phone. Mrs. Smith explained little Mary's cell phone had disappeared off her desk. Little Mary's friends confirmed they'd seen the phone. Unsurprisingly, no one could find it or remember when it vanished. Now, there's a couple of things here. I loathe cell phones at school. I know they have a place, and intellectually, I know we should probably integrate them more into the curriculum, since they are such a ubiquitous part of our society. But I can never reconcile the distraction. It's like turning a virus loose in the classroom. And second, I dislike thieving even more than I dislike cell phones. Since this was at the end of the school day, whatever might be accomplished in the effort to find little Mary's lost device must be done before school is out. Otherwise, it is lost. After arriving at the classroom, Mrs. Smith, Mary's teacher, steps out into the hallway and outlines the situation. I want to ask why the student needed the phone on their desk, since they are prohibited from using them during class, but I bite my tongue. I think to myself, short of strip searching a classroom full of students and rifling their belongings, this phone is history. I visit further with Mrs. Smith and little Mary. I inquired little Mary if her phone had the Find Me application turned on. Little Mary said no, but she certainly would turn it on next time. Of course, I said. I sent Mary back into the classroom, and then I asked Mrs. Smith a very pointed question. Okay, who swiped the phone? Well, she stammers, I don't know. I get that, I tell her. Who do you think stole it? She says rather sheepishly, it would almost have to be little Johnny. He was oddly in the girls' area, and he has been unusually quiet. Then she adds quickly, but I don't know for sure. I understand, I tell her. About that time, Coach Jones is passing by the door carrying his laptop computer. I have an idea. It's nuts and has almost no chance of success, but it's the only thing I can think of right now. Plus, the dismissal bell is only about 15 minutes away. I speak briefly to Coach Jones and position him in the hallway right outside the open classroom door. He is standing there with his laptop open, and he appears to be looking at the screen. The classroom cannot see the screen as the back of the laptop is facing the students. It's a good thing, since Coach Jones was taking the computer to be fixed. The screen is severely broken. He stands in the doorway like a totem. He has a look on his face that is sort of like the look you have when you smell something unpleasant. I ignore him. He's simply a prop. I address the classroom and announce that little Mary's phone has disappeared. This is not news to them, as the teacher had already gone through this with the class in an unsuccessful attempt to get the phone back earlier. I go on to explain that little Mary's iPhone has the newest version of Find My, that it's very sensitive to location movements. I look at Coach Jones' computer. I explain to the classroom the phone is in this classroom. I further explain that I will have the students move to the doorway. If the phone icon moves within the Find My application, it will indicate the guilty party. We'll test each student, starting with the ones closest to little Mary. I think to myself, I only hope I can pull this off before the bell rings. Actually, I'm thinking I only hope I can just pull this off. The first student, little Cindy, is asked to pick up her backpack and purse, then walk toward Coach Jones. She takes the walk of shame. The classroom has an adjoining lab, so the door is a little farther than normal. She finishes the trek, stopping short of the man holding the computer. I make a big production of looking around to the front of the laptop. I shake my head. The student returns to her desk. The students let out a collective sigh. The room is way into the drama. I asked little Julie, then little Joey, and it was the same song and dance. Finally, I asked little Johnny. Now, I know little Johnny a little better than most of the students in this class. We have, let's say, gotten to know each other. Little Johnny gets out of his chair and starts walking toward the door. I stop him and point to his backpack. He hesitates, then picks it up. As with the other students, little Johnny makes the hike. then stands behind me as I peer over the edge of the laptop. I shake my head as before, indicating that I don't see anything. As Johnny turns around, I whisper to him, "Johnny, I won't embarrass you in front of your classmates, but you will give that phone back to the teacher after class." In a small voice, he says, "Yes, sir." You could have knocked me over with a feather. Little Johnny returns to his seat, and we repeat the dance with several other students until the bell rings. When the bell rings, I send the very confused Coach Jones on his way, and I beat a hasty retreat myself because dismissal is all hands on deck. After the last bus finally exits the pickup area, I drag myself back to my office. Sitting outside my door is Mrs. Smith. In her hand was the previously purloined iPhone. She holds it up at me with both hands like it's the Holy Grail. I casually remark, "Little Mary's?" She can hardly speak. "Yes," she finally blurts out. "How? What? Do you know little Johnny on his own just laid the phone on my desk after the rest of the students left? How did this happen?" she asked. I walked by her into my office and sank into my chair. "If I told you, I'd have to—" "Stop," she says loudly. I grin and tell her, "Look, no one is more surprised than I am." So, in summation, Mrs. Smith sang my praises far and wide as a genius second only to Sherlock himself. Well, in the teacher's lounge anyway. Coach Jones went away convinced the principal is nuts, and little Mary got her phone back. Not a bad day as days go. Oh yeah, little Johnny, he was sent to the alternative education school, or as the students call it, jail school, for 4 weeks. You can't make this stuff up.